Hello everyone. I wanted to take this opportunity to walk you through the email project, which will be the first major project that you complete for this course. In essence, what I'm asking you to do is something that you already know how to do. Write some emails. However, emails are often the first opportunity we have to make an impression on somebody, and written communication is a lot more challenging than spoken communication because there's a lot more opportunity for misinterpretation. So you're missing a lot of the body language that can add nuance to somebody's communication. I think we've probably all had the experience of sending a text message or an email where something we thought was funny or was meant to be sarcastic wasn't taken that way, and it caused some miscommunication. So this project is going to ask you to write 3 different emails to 3 different people for 3 different purposes. Now, you're going to hear me repeat this all throughout this course, so you may as well commit it to memory now. Audience is the most important part of writing. If you don't know who you're writing to, you can't tailor communication to them. So you're not going to be able to think about what they need, why are they reading, what are their physical and time constraints that have to do with your communication. All of these things have to go into your thought process when you're designing a communication for a particular audience. So, this project, you're going to demonstrate to me that you can write differently to different people for different reasons. So, this project has 3 major parts to it. And parts 1 and 3 are asking you to think about what you do as a writer. So we call this, if you want a fancy word, metacognition, thinking about how you think. So for the first part of this, you're going to answer these 4 questions that tell me, when do you email people? Why do you email them? What do you prioritize when you email them? So that will be something that you complete during the first week of this assignment, is Part 1 with the reflection questions. Part 2 is where you are going to pick 3 different purposes and 3 different audiences to compose an email to. Now, these are just suggestions. If you have a different audience or a different purpose that you really want to write an email concerning, please feel free to send me an email and tell me what it is and why you think that this will demonstrate your ability to use a particular tone, and I'm pretty sure I will approve it. Now, these are just examples. Now, just because to introduce yourself as next to professor doesn't mean that's the only person you can introduce yourself to. These are very much mix and match. So, you could email a friend to learn more about a job opening, for instance, or an employer to ask for a raise or promotion or a higher grade, something like that. So, the other thing to think about here is I've had some very fun email projects where people wrote as fictional characters. If you desperately want to write as Sherlock Holmes trying to get Watson to keep his part of the room clean, or as a character from Lord of the Rings plotting how to get the ring to a different part of Middle-earth, please feel free. These don't have to be just the same kind of boring, stodgy things. Now, that being said, you need to make sure that you are writing differently for different audiences. Sauron, who is writing to the leader of the Uruk-hai, yes, I'm a nerd, is going to be very different because those are his underlings. These are people that he controls. It's going to be very different than if Gandalf is writing a letter to Bilbo congratulating him on surviving the events of The Hobbit because they're friends. That's going to be a much more personal, much more friendly kind of an email. So, feel free to have a little bit of fun with this. You have some examples here to think about. You're also going to be reflecting once again after you write those 3 emails. So for this project, you're going to be reading a few articles about emailing. You're going to engage some discussion board posts about how you email and why. And hopefully, some of your ideas about emailing will either have changed or they will be much more supported with reasoning than they might have been. So you might still be doing the same things, but hopefully you have a more complex rationale for why you are doing them. So, you'll notice that these 4 questions are the exact same as part 1, but I want some more details here. Are you sending more emails? Why is that? Are you emailing differently? Are you spending more time thinking about your audience? If so, tell me what it means to think about your audience. This will be your first chance to really get into this idea of what I call telling versus showing. You can tell me, I think about my audience, but if you don't show me with examples, for instance, when I'm emailing my professor, I think about what time of day I send it because I don't want them to think that I expect them to answer me at 11 o'clock at night. That's a detail that shows how you think about your audience. So always think about those 2 parts. Telling, which is your claim, I do this thing, and showing, which is your example, and here's how you know I do this thing. So when you turn this in, you're going to have 2 reflections, 1 before the project, 1 afterward, 3 finished emails. Each are a minimum of 150 words long, not including the subject line. So you do need to have 2 from subject, particularly the subject line, because that is such a crucial part of whether somebody actually reads your email. In the to and from line, please feel free to fabricate email addresses. And all of these 3 parts will be due in one document on June 25th at midnight. So, I look forward to reading your emails. If you scroll down, you can see the rubric that I'm going to be using to grade this project, and this will help you know what I prioritize. What is the stuff that I'm looking for, and how much do I value it? And you'll notice that a lot of these sections are worth 2 points. Audience awareness and subject is worth 3 points. So, the reflection, this is both parts all at once, is also worth 3 points. So, this is what I'll use to grade all of your projects, obviously with a different rubric each time, but this is what I'll use to grade all of your projects so that when you get a grade back, you'll be able to know not only what the grade is, but where you got points, where did you excel, and what are some of the areas you might want to consider as you think about doing a possible revision. So, that being said, if you have any questions about this project, feel free to email me or post it on the Frequently Asked Questions board, and I look forward to talking to you soon.